Welcome to Bob Reeves Brass. I'm Brett Kendall, and today we're going to be talking about the gap. So the gap is basically the space inside your receiver from the end of the mouthpiece to the start of the lead pipe. What I have here is a little cutaway of a receiver to kind of explain what the gap is. Or the gap on a trumpet and mouthpiece can be different sizes. So this one would be larger gap, and then this one here is smaller gap. So the mouthpiece, hypothetically in the situation, goes further in. It's a fine-tuning adjustment on your instrument, and one thing you can do to kind of figure out what you need to have for your gap setting is to do our paper trick, which you can learn about in our video here. So to do the paper trick, it's a playing test. So you want to obviously be warmed up, ready to play. Play something you're comfortable with, that's familiar. And then what you do is you take your mouthpiece out, and with a small slip of paper, maybe 1/4 of an inch wide, maybe 1.5 inches long, you take it and put it lengthwise on the shank of the mouthpiece. And then you play the same thing. You play the same test or whatever exercise to see how it feels. Does it respond better? Does it respond worse? If it responds better, you need to go further away. You need a bigger gap than what you're used to. If it plays worse, then that means you probably need to go further in, or maybe you're close to where you should be. That's kind of the experiment. If it plays the same, add another piece of paper. So you do 2 thicknesses on top of each other to move you out even further. So you kind of go until you get some response from it. And that gives you information about where you need to move to. So what we have today, actually we have a customer. They had done the paper trick. They contacted us. They found that the paper made the mouthpiece play better. They're having issues. It was feeling stuffy. The upper register wasn't slotting well, that kind of thing. So we talked them through, said, go ahead, send us the piece, we'll convert it for sleeves. So we have that here. His mouthpiece, let's see what the shank size is, what sleeve size is. And it is a number 6 shank, just about. So that explains what he's got going on with the gap. So a number 1 on our size would be the largest diameter, and number 7 is the smallest. So he's almost to our smallest size. With the paper, it was playing better, so he needs to go further out. So now what I'm going to do is basically I'll show you how we get the mouthpiece on the lathe, and we turn it down to accept our sleeves. Just get the mouthpiece in the lathe, nice and secure. Obviously, first thing we have to do is make sure it's centered. So the mouthpieces, they're going to be quite thin at the bottom when we do our cut for sleeve, so we have to support them while we're cutting it. So we're going to use the tailstock here. Just get that in there. And now we need to set up our tool. Okay, so there we have it. The last thing to do basically is take off a little bit of the sharp burrs that may be there, and then check the size of the shank. So it looks good. It's pretty good on the size. Everything should be right. Looks good. So that feels good. You want it to be free to move, but you want it to be a very close fit, because if it's loose, you may start losing more energy than you're supposed to, or should, or you'd want at this juncture. Okay, so we've got the finished product here. The mouthpiece has been plated. It's cut for sleeves, obviously. We talked to the customer, and so we're going to go with a 4 sleeve, a 5 sleeve, and a 6 sleeve. So he's got the 6, which is his original size, more or less, and then 2 sizes bigger for him to experiment with. And then, you know, maybe later down the road, he'll say, well, I'm kind of between these two, and he can always get a quarter size or a half size to kind of fit in what he needs. Or if he has other horns, he might find he needs to go a different way, you know, so he can always, by having the conversion on his mouthpiece, he can always change to something else to adapt to what he needs. Okay, so thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more or need more information or have any questions, you can always give us a call or email, and we'll be happy to talk to you. And make sure to like the video and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, and we'll see you next time.